just a few named awards that are given each year. And this particular award is the Michele Maxian Award. It would be improper, really, to not only talk about the recipient, but to fail to talk about the person for whom it is named. Michele worked for the Legal Aid Society of New York. I remember her most as the head of the Special Litigation Unit. She was energetic, she was brilliant, she brought litigation that changed the system. She died much too young, and she was a defense lawyer from the beginning to the end, and taught many of us many things. Now, speaking of many things, take a look at Dan Barry's resume, vita, contained in your pamphlets. One thing is striking, unusual, and different than anything I've ever seen. It says, legal experience, Legal Aid Bureau of Buffalo, Inc., Buffalo, New York, 1962 to present. The man can hold a job. Okay? And actually my first job, both in law school and after being admitted, was with the Legal Aid Bureau of Buffalo. And I think they have 2 tables back here, and I'm proud to be an alumni of that group. Dan, I think, had about 4 years experience in the public defender arena, both in family court and public defense, when I came there as at the end of my first year of law school. I'm nominating him for our new group of 25 to 45-year-old lawyers who are really much involved in criminal justice, and I think he fits right in, because he's young, energetic, cares, and, I don't know, Rumple of the Bailey? And if you remember the series? Unbelievable, because that's what Dan does every day, 5 days a week, and maybe 6, I'm not sure. But Buffalo City Court is not unlike 100 Center Street, and there are thousands of cases that go through there. You deal with every aspect of humanity, and he's been doing that for over 50 years. And to this day, he's old school. Believe me, he is old school in that he cares about his individual client, handles it one case at a time, goes from one to the next, and it never stops. He never loses his sense of humor. He never loses his integrity, and he never loses the respect of the other participants in the criminal justice system, whether it's prosecutors, judges, police, investigators. He's respected, believed, and he gets the job done for his client and does it again and again and again. As part of the presidential summit Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever it's been a long week, we were talking about veterans and veteran problems. It's amazing how many veteran defense lawyers that I'm aware of in both Albany, Buffalo, and throughout the state are veterans themselves of the military. And Dan served in Korea during that police action back in the 50s, was a Marine, and he brings the Marine attitude to his daily work. I have probably used up close to 2 minutes. And so with that, I would ask Dan to come up and accept this award on behalf of the criminal justice sector.
Thank you, Norman. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. He kept out all the secrets that we have between us. In any event, I can't tell you how proud I am to be able to receive this award. It's something that I don't think of it as like a life desire or anything, but when somebody calls you and says, you have won an award from the state of New York, from a esteemed body like the State Bar Association, even an old guy who doesn't think too much of anything is impressed. And believe me, I'm impressed. It's hard for me to believe, And I was totally surprised and shocked by this award. Sometimes I'm not that popular even around my family or my office.
Not true.
I've been, as I said, I've been there since 1962. I've survived, I'm looking around for a job after I got out of law school, and I ended up at the Legal Aid Bureau of Buffalo. My friends were with Jacob Fleischman, Hudson Russ, blah, 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 whatever their name. And when they meet me, they say, oh, how you doing, Dan? What are you doing? I say, well, I work for Legal Aid. It's kind of, oh, gee, how nice. Then I survived 4 or 5 years later. It was like, you're still with them. And then, gee, how long are you going to be there? Then the next phrase was, you're still there? When are you going to quit? When are you going to retire? The whole process has taken to 50 years. And I'll tell you this, it's nowhere near any kind of ordeal. You would think that the way Norman put it, it was something that I sweat over and that. This is a situation where how lucky I am that I don't have to wait for clients to pay me money to practice law. Private practice lawyers have to wait till they get the money to do what I do every day. I don't do it for free. Obviously, it's not as lucrative as some other situations. But over the course of years, I've survived the war on poverty, the conciliation of courts. Now we're going to the fragmentation of courts. I've survived all of those things as we go along. And the money was adequate, but not great. My family who are here, my son and daughter who are with me here today, probably had to not get a couple of things they might have wanted. But all in all, it's a wonderful life. It's not only a situation where you receive a pay, but there are some of my clients offer me things, drugs, oral sex. Lamont offered to steal his mother's TV and give it to me. I mean, you can't replace things like that. You can't replace those memories. And so as we go along trying to do a job, trying to go to the wall for these people, you're not looking for thanks unless if you're self-contained and you focus on the law and not about the miserable life that around these people that gets them to be in the criminal justice system, then you can stand this job and be in it for 50 years because you're concentrating on the law. Bring me the case, bring me the defendant, and let's do the law part. Thank goodness I don't try to get involved in their social aspects and their mental health problems and their drug addictions, et cetera, et cetera. Although along the way, I've been called a sucker because I've paid restitution. I've given them money for drugs. I've given them money for car fare that they use for drugs. Those kind of things. And some of them have even repaid me, surprisingly. But that all is a personal relationship that we get from the people we service. And it's a service to us how fortunate we are to be in a country where we can do something like this, where we can have somebody stand up there for you. And more accolades are gotten by me from people whose cases I've lost. Because all they're looking for is somebody to fight for them. They know they're guilty. But we fought, and we fought a good fight, and they went to jail. And they're thrilled as hell that somebody fought for them. If I can just speak to, maybe I'll pick up on Judge Labuna's situation. We're always talking about being fair. Fairness starts with funding. And so when you read in the paper the district attorney's got $9 million from drug dealers or wherever, that $9 million came from the people that we represent at the bottom. They had their $10, their crack, that they paid for. We never get a share of that. So on all of your committees about fairness and things like that, one of the main things we need is money. Because we don't have a police department to go out in the streets and investigate. We don't have people to do the motions. We don't have the copy machine. We don't have this. It's not fair. The other insidious thing that's coming about at this point is this nonsense about ineffective assistance of counsel. Those of us who go to the wall every day for people make a million decisions. You make them every day. Plead, not plead, bail, yes, no, investigate, adjourn. There's 1,000 decisions made every day. Along the line, 15 or 20 months later, some guy says, gee, Barry didn't tell me that if I took this disorderly, this case would be over. Now I'm doing it 8 years. Well, gee, Barry must have been ineffective. What a stupid ass. That's beginning to put a crimp in the way we practice law. And we don't want to get like doctors, where we have to protect ourselves, and so we do everything lousy, so we don't make one thing great. We don't put ourselves on the line and fight for the people that we represent. I love them all. I can't believe I got this award. Norm told me last year I was 313th. I don't know how he got me to the top. But I thank you very much.
I want to take a moment to recognize some of our past chairs who are here. Susan Lindenauer, past chair of the